Hi, this is Pantelis, and in this video I will show you a beautiful chess game between Rashid Nezhmetdinov and Nikolay Novotelnov. Rashid Nezhmetdinov was a chess genius and magician which will demonstrate his chess virtuosity just in this game, and Novotelnov was Soviet grandmaster who was born in St. Petersburg 1911 and died in St. Petersburg 2006. This game played 1949 in Tbilisi. Tbilisi is the capital of Georgia, the former Soviet Union. In this game, Rashid had white pieces and he started with e4. Nikolay played c5 and we have a Sicilian defense. Knight from g to f3, knight from b to c6, d4, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn on d4, and Nikolay played knight to f6, attacking pawn on e4. Rashid played knight to c3 defending, d6, bishop to e2, and we have a e6. This is a Scheveningen variation of Sicilian defense. If, for example, Nikolay played a6, we will have a neither variation. Rashid castled kingside, bishop to e7, Nikolay wants to castle kingside too, bishop to e3, and now Nikolay played a6, protection for the b5 field if knights or light square bishop come to b5. Rashid to move, and he played f4, preparing e5 and then attacking knight on f6. So Nikolay played queen to c7, forcing pressure on e5 field with knight and pawn. Queen to e1, Rashid wants to play queen to g3, Nikolay castled kingside, queen to g3, and king to h8, safety first. We have a rook from a to d1. This is a very deep move by Rashid. Later you will see why he played this move in this position. Bishop to d7, Nikolay connecting rooks and developing his pieces very well. King to h1 and rook from a to c8 in line with queen. White to move, and Rashid played knight from d to f3. He wants to play knight to g5 and then queen to h3 or h4. Nikolay played b5, preparing b4 and then attack knight on c3. We have a first surprise from Nezhmetdinov Greek's corpus. He played e5. He played e5 attacking knight on f6, but Nikolay didn't capture the pawn on e5. He played knight to e8. And let's see what will happen if pawn takes pawn. If pawn takes pawn, then Rashid will capture with knight, and after knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, attacking black knight again. If knight now goes to e8, then Rashid will probably play light square bishop to d3, targeting h7 field. If Nikolay played h6, for example, this is the first line, then queen to h3, and after queen takes pawn on e5, bishop will takes on h6. Of course, if pawn takes pawn, then check and checkmate, and if king goes to g8, then a bishop to f4 attacking queen and opening h-file for the white queen to deliver checkmate on h7. If knight comes to f6 to defend h7, then a black queen is lost for Nikolay. Second line, if his example played g6, then bishop to h6 attacking rook, rook to g8, rook takes pawn on f7 attacking bishop on e7, queen to d8 defending, then rook to f1 in line with rook to f7, and if example Nikolay played bishop to h4 attacking queen, Rashid will sacrifice his queen and he will play queen takes pawn on g6. After rook takes queen, check and check again and checkmate. But this is just possible continuations of this game. In this position, Nikolay didn't capture the pawn. He played knight to e8. Rashid played knight to e4 in empty space, which pawn makes when he played e5, and Nikolay played f5, attacking knight on e4, knight to g5, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn on e5, not taking pawn by knight, but knight to b4, attacking pawn on c2, and then bishop on e3. So Rashid played c3, attacking knight, but Nikolay didn't return back his knight on c6. He played knight to d5, attacking bishop on e3 directly from d5. Now is clear why Rashid played rook from a to d1. He wants to prevent and protect d file with rook. So rook takes knight and pawn takes rook. Rashid to move, and believe it or not, he preparing checkmate. He played queen to h3. Nikolay saw situation and he played h6, but pawn is pinned, so knight can easily standing on g5, protecting by another knight on f3 if bishop takes on g5. Rashid played very good move, e6, attacking bishop on d7, but Nikolay didn't move bishop on c6 immediately. He first capture knight with bishop, and after Rashid recapture with knight, then bishop to c6, escaping from a pawn on e6. Game goes on, and Rashid play his second trick. This is very good move by Rashid, but Nikolay didn't capture again. Rashid played bishop to h5, auto unpinning, and if pawn takes knight, then bishop to g6, discover check from the queen. Only way is king to g8, and then checkmate on h7. So in this position he played queen to e7, didn't capture the knight. Rashid continued aggressively in his style, and he played knight to f7 check, and Nikolay played king to g8. What will happen if rook takes knight? Then pawn takes rook, and after knight to f6, escaping from pawn on f7, then bishop to g6, escaping from knight, and after rook to f8, then Rashid will play in his style bishop takes pawn on h6. If pawn takes bishop, then check and checkmate, and if knight goes to h7 immediately, then first light square bishop takes knight, and if king takes bishop, discover check from the queen, and black queen is lost again. So in this position he played king from h to g8. Rashid takes pawn with queen on f5, and Nikolay played knight to f6, cutting communications between queen and knight, also attacking bishop on h5. Okay, we can stop here. We have a critical position of the game. Rashid to move and to play a winning move from this position. He calculates 5 or maybe 6 moves away, and he decide to sacrifice his knight on h6. Knight takes pawn check, pawn takes knight, bishop to f7 check again, rook takes pawn, let's take it back. If king goes to h8, then Rashid will play bishop to d4, pinning the knight on f6, and after example rook takes bishop, then pawn takes rook, queen takes pawn, and queen takes rook on c8 check, bishop to e8 blocking, then rook takes knight, protected by bishop on d4, attacking queen on f7. So in this position Nikolay capture bishop with rook, and pawn takes rook on f7. This is check, king takes pawn, and Rashid simply capture rook with queen on c8. Nikolay totally lost the plot and he played very bad move. He played d4. If queen takes bishop on e3, then Rashid will takes on c6. So we have a d4. Rashid simply takes pawn with bishop, then bad sacrifice. Nikolay played bishop takes pawn on g2 check, king takes bishop, check by queen, rook to f3 blocked, queen to g6 check, king to h1, queen to b1. Rashid made a move and Nikolay resigned. The move is bishop to g1. Nikolay resigned because rook and bishop is much stronger than knight only. Second, if Nikolay played example queen takes pawn on b2, then Rashid will play queen to d7 check, knight is pinned, so he cannot move, so only way for the king is to go to g6, then rook to g3 check, king to h5, and there is checkmate e1, queen to h3, checkmate. And if queen goes back to e4, then Rashid will play queen to d7 first. This is check, king to g6, then queen to h3, protecting rook on f3. And after example, Nikolay played knight to g4, then Rashid will play queen on g2, pinning the knight and also protecting the rook. Random move, and Nikolay will lost his knight. In all of variations, white is much better than black. So this is all for now. Buy and play like Rashid.